Would you like a fun, easy, quick, clear, crisp, direct memory improvement exercise, a memory palace exercise? If so, stick around, that's coming right up. Hey there, this is Anthony Metivier from MagneticMemoryMethod.com. Look, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you want memory improvement exercises, memory palace exercises, and so forth, get subscribed to this channel because I don't want you to miss a thing. This video is going to explain my favorite memory palace exercise. It's something that you can do anytime in the world, anywhere that you are, and it is one that's going to help you create memory palaces so that you have a large library of them in your mind. And what it is basically is at the end of the day, make an inventory of the buildings that you've been in, the rooms that you've been in, and then enable yourself to actually navigate the memory palaces properly. So I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of proper memory palace creation. You can get my free course at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. But essentially what you want to do is have well-formed memory palaces where you don't cross your own path, you don't lead yourself into dead ends, because that creates memory palace scarcity, and it also really just wastes time. It creates additional cognitive load, and the goal of the memory palace is to reduce cognitive load so that you're able to focus on your actual information that you want to recall, zoom, 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 without any additional energy or time being spent on the actual navigation of the memory palace. Beginners tend to trip themselves up, and even more intermediate and advanced people tend to trip themselves up because they're violating certain principles of proper memory palace construction. So the basics of this exercise are just to do a daily or near daily inventory of all the places that you've been. And so I, for example, today just went on quite a long walk, probably, I'd say maybe, I have to look, but probably in excess of 15 kilometers or so, forward and back. And I went into a number of buildings, and then I need to inventory those. And I like to draw memory palaces, so I'll do that. And basically, I'll just think about the journey on the way there, think about the journey on the way back. And also, one of the interesting things is, what do I just remember in terms of buildings that made an impression on me that I didn't go in? And by inventorying them, I'm giving myself a nice spatial memory exercise. And then by thinking about their design and how to create them as memory palaces, I'm then giving myself more spatial memory exercise that leads to actual memory palaces I might want to use. So, for example, I was in a new cafe today that I'd never been in before. Really great coffee, actually. I'm going to go again. And I can just get a picture in my mind of exactly what that was. Then with a memory journal, I can just get out some paper and some pens, whatever, if I like to use colors and whatnot, and just begin to draw it out. It's nothing fancy. It's just, you know, getting it out on paper and making it work. And so in this particular case, I wasn't able to see much of behind the counter, but I know that there's a counter there, and all I have to think about is what would be the most brain dead simple collection of magnetic stations that I don't have to think about even if I haven't seen them, right? So there's going to be this corner, and then I did see this corner, so leave it at that. We got one, and we got two, right? Now here there was a counter that worked more or less like this. Well, why don't we just call that 3, right? Now I remember that there was a bookshelf here. It's just that simple, right? Now, I didn't count how many shelves were in the bookcase, right? But let's just call it 3, because even if it had 17, I'd still call it 3, because that's just my mnemonic style. So now I got 4, 5, and 6 magnetic stations, right? In actual use, I might not use all of those. I might stand the magnetic image in front of that bookcase, but so be it for now. Now, I can start to put together the rest here, right? And there was 2 couches, and I'll draw those in. And there was a table. Now that table was actually in the shape of the Wu-Tang band symbol. I don't know if you've seen it, but that's what it was. Here there was a garbage bin, and then over here was the door, right? Nothing pretty, nothing fancy, just a quick sketch. Maybe if I wasn't doing it, you know, on a piece of paper like this, it would look a little more tidy, and I'll do it again later. But that's a pretty simple memory palace. Got 6 stations. I'm gonna call the couch 7, call the table 8, The second couch 9, I'm gonna skip that garbage bin because it doesn't really do me any good. Called the door 10, and they had one of those sandwich board, clapboard sort of things outside advertising the business. So we'll call that 11 and leave it a day. Leave it like that. Now I can go on to the next one. I remember just peering inside of an art gallery, so I could choose to do that. There were other buildings, right? And so I would just go through the day, figure out what rooms were most impressive. I was in a bookstore, I was in another bookstore, then I was, you know, meeting an accountant, and can use, hi Jason, I can use that station, or sorry, that office there as a memory palace, and even if I've made it as one before, which I have, can do it again and think about maybe some territory in there that I hadn't previously honored. But it's that simple. Go through the day, figure out everything that you saw, and then draw it out. Now, do you think that's something that you could do? It's really that simple. Now, of course, then we've got the 11 stations that I created for this. What I want to do is navigate them forwards and backwards. I want to think about the middle station there, which in this case is going to be on the bookcase, and I want to move from the middle of it to the beginning, to station 1. Then I want to move from the beginning, station 6, all the way to station 11, because this one has 11, and then I want to actually skip the stations. And the reason why we want to skip the stations is because we have the primacy effect, we have the recency effect, and we have the forgetting curve, right? And what we want to do is use the spatial positioning effect to give primacy and recency to each and every one of those magnetic stations, so that the memory palace pops, right? Because we've memorized the memory palace and we know it. And with just a couple of walkthroughs, mental walkthroughs, not seeing myself navigate through it, not seeing it from a bird's eye view looking down, just thinking of those stations in vaguely, basically, vague, that's a new word. Vague, I like that. That's basically vague. It's not really vague or not vague. It's just sense of spatial memory and thinking of those places and starting to strategize it, going through it mentally. This is kind of like mental rotation. And then the idea is I'll just be able to go boom, 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 boom. I'll know what number every station is. If you want, you can actually take your 00 to 99 and place them on every one of those stations, so that if you wanted to memorize a foreign language word, you go to 01. Well, 01 for me is the sad tragedy mask, which actually is not that vague. It's very concrete, because it's not just any sad tragedy mask, but it's William Shatner in his role of Oedipus in an Oedipus Rex play that he made, where he wears this mask. So, but that's what it is, right? He can always be station 1. I want to learn a new Chinese word. Well, I've got a bridging figure character all ready to go right there. Station 2 has another one. Station 11 has another one. Station 11 is the Toad from the Warner Brothers cartoons, right? Always number 11 is that Toad. That's the way 00 to 99 figures work. Some people call that the PAO, person action object. I just call it 00 to 99, but you can just use these tools. It's so incredible. It's such a great memory palace exercise. You're going to get so good at these techniques relative to the amount of time that you spend actually developing memory palaces. And then of course, don't just make them, use them. It's like the Baker principle in memory applies to memory palace creation and spatial memory as well. If you don't know the Baker thing, go check it out. It's on names. Some of my posts on names and faces and memorizing names. But in any case, and sometimes I make in jokes about it that you may have caught or maybe not, but now you will if you look it up. Fun puzzles. But the point is that the reason that this is a Baker thing is that if you just make one memory palace, you're never going to become a world-class baker. You got to make lots of bread, you got to make lots of kinds of different pastry in order to get good at baking bread, right? Same thing with memory palaces. It's very easy to do, it's very simple to do. Most of us on a day-to-day basis, we encounter rooms that we haven't used as memory palaces. Maybe most is a bit of a stretch, but many of us do. And even if you don't, why couldn't you go to a library you've never been to before, a movie theater you've never been to before, a cafe you've never been to before? Oodles of different kinds of buildings. Get on a train and go into a car in the train that you've never been to before. Get in there. Use this beautiful thing that you have called spatial memory. You memorize rooms and buildings for free on autopilot. Most people have this sense for free. and maximize it, utilize it. It's the perfect memory palace exercise. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you'll give this a try. I hope you'll instantly take these new memory palaces that you create and apply them to something you want to memorize. Vocabulary in your mother tongue, vocabulary in another language. You can go back and add entire phrases if it's another language to this. Do it to facts, figures, memorize whatever it is that will make your life immediately better, not just for the sake of it. Or if doing it just for the sake of it will make your life immediately better, that's cool too. The point is that if you want these skills, go out and get them, because that's how things happen. Take action. Take action, enjoy the process, and understand that the more that you learn, the more you can learn. And this is a great way to make sure that you're learning very, very quickly with great permanency, so you don't have to forget stuff and be frustrated by it, and you don't have to feel like the time that you spend learning is wasted because you remember more. Just make sure you run everything through all of the magnetic modes, which are the visual and the auditory and the kinesthetic and the olfactory and the gustatory and the conceptual and also the spatial, which is what you're always using when you're using memory palaces. So hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below what you're doing with your memory, what struggles you might have, what victories you've had. Let's focus on the victories. I never believed in this sort of thing of like fail faster. Let's set you up so that you can actually get quick victories quicker, and many, many more. If you haven't taken my free course, come to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT, get you set up. It's really super simple. There's a homework exercise there for you. Keep making memory palaces. It is the way to conquer spatial memory. It is the foundational memory technique in which all other techniques can be used. It doesn't work the other way around, however. So master the foundations, build from the ground up. You're gonna have a great time. It's gonna help you preserve your brain health for life, and I know you're gonna love it. So thanks again for watching. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do. Make sure you get my free course at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. And until we speak again, much love from here in the Magnetic Memory Method Park headquarters in Brisbane, Australia. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. And until we do, keep yourself magnetic.